Hey everybody at home, welcome to our virtual studio here with Mindpose Studios, coming to you from Saratoga Springs, Utah. I'm Heather. I'll be guiding this practice. We'll be doing a deep stretch, which can complement any of the other segments that you have to view within our virtual studio. For this particular practice, you'll want to have some props handy just to help you to get into these stretches a little bit deeper. So if you have blocks at home, go ahead and grab those, especially if you have yoga blocks, those are perfect. Otherwise, you can even use books or some sturdier pillows. And if you have a bolster, we may be using a bolster at the end here. If you don't, then again, you can use a cushion of any kind or even a rolled up blanket or an extra rolled up yoga mat. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to begin in seated staff pose today. So as we go through this, we'll have these other yogis, teachers also with Mindpose Studios, that will be offering some different options. Adam and Ann will be layering down, so if you need a gentler version, be sure to watch them. Jubilin and Chelsea will be doing the full expression of the pose. So if you have any questions about the shape of it, then you know who to look to. All right, let's get into Dandasana, seated staff pose. I'll turn to the side here so that you have a view of what that's supposed to look like. You can sit with your sit bones nice and connected to the floor. So if you have to shift from side to side a little bit to feel that connection, go ahead and do so. Hands come to the floor by your sides. Option to extend them out and tent the fingers here. That can take pressure off of your wrists. Also, it can allow you to slide those shoulders away from the ears a little more easily. Flexing your feet, drawing the toes towards you, gently drop your chin so that it's parallel to the floor. And then lift and elevate out of your hips here as you press into those sit bones. Draw the stomach in, finding length through the low spine. From here, we'll move into seated forward fold, Paschimottanasana. So inhale, reach and extend hands to the sky. If you do need a gentle version, you can pick up a strap if you have one on hand to wrap it around the balls of your feet, not around your arches. You don't want to put undue strain or stress on the arches. So see, as Adam's doing here, he's got that more towards the top of the foot by the toes and then holding onto the straps. Once they're inhale, lengthen through the spine, drawing the chin gently down towards the chest. You're going to start to fold forward without rounding in the spine, starting to reach the top of the head forward. And then parachuting through the chest as the hands come down. Maybe they grab your calves, your ankles, or your feet. As you can see here with Jubilin, she has quite a bit of length through her legs and her arms, so her hands actually extend past her feet. If that's what happens for you, you have the option to interlace your hands here at the base of your feet, or you might even be able to grab a wrist as you extend here. Nice and long through the spine, deep inhale. Good. Continuing to lift out of the hips as you press down into the sit bones. Beautiful. Drawing the forehead towards the shins, lengthening through the back of the neck, remembering that your neck is an extension of your spine. Long, deep inhale here to find that length, and then complete exhale as you compress the stomach. Perhaps your chest comes a little bit closer to the shins. One more round of breath. Inhale, long and deep. Top of the head towards your toes. And then as you exhale, feeling that weight in the hips as your chest settles towards your legs. On the inhale, coming all the way back up to an upright position. Releasing that strap from around your feet. If you had it there, you can go ahead and set it to the side. From here, we're going to take Sage's Twist, or Marichyasana C. So go ahead and bend your left knee here, taking the sole of the left foot to the inside of the leg. Or an open, gentler version, which you'll want to take, especially if you're pregnant, menstruating, or you have lower back issues. You'll bring your right hand behind the right hip, reaching and extending left hand to the sky. Good. And then from here, as you exhale, elbow comes to the inside of the knee and rotating from the waist, taking your gaze past that back shoulder. Option to stay right here, holding that twist, length through the spine. Or if you'd like to deepen this pose, you'll follow Jubilin and Chelsea here. So they'll reach and extend the right arm to the sky. Good. And then bring the left hand behind the left hip here for support. Exhaling, taking elbow to the outside of the left knee. Good. Trying to draw those right ribs And then also settling across the shoulders. So you want to find softness through the shoulders here. Beautiful. Long, deep inhale, drawing the belly in to create more length and space. And then as you exhale, you might find that you can twist a little bit deeper here. Stay with your breath. Long, deep inhale in. Complete exhale out. Beautiful. And then one more round of breath here. On the exhale, you'll release and come back to center. Good. Go ahead and extend that left leg out, and we'll take that on the other side. So this time, pulling the right knee in towards the chest here. Pressing firmly into that foot. You want to make sure that sit bones stay on the ground, that you're stabilized through your hips. And then once again, for the open twist, left hand will come behind the left hip. Right hand reaches to the sky, lifting and lengthening. And then exhale, elbow to the inside of the knee as you rotate from the waist to look past the left shoulder. For the deeper twist, you'll go ahead and inhale, reaching right hand to the back of the hip, left hand to the sky. Good, and then take that elbow to the outside of the knee. Beautiful. Draw the belly in away from the leg, and if you're in the deeper twist, you're rotating so that those left ribs come towards the inner right thigh. Good. Inhale, lift to lengthen here. Beautiful. Exhale, soften across the shoulders as you press shoulder blades towards the spine. Inhale, draw the belly in. Good. Exhale, feel that connection through the sit bones. One more inhale, creating as much length as you can. And then exhale, coming back to center, releasing the pose. Nice. Go ahead and extend that right leg out. From here, we'll take reverse tabletop or reverse plank. So hands come behind you about a hand's distance away from your glutes here. Fingertips are towards the back of the mat. So for the gentler version, you'll bend your knees like Anna's doing right here. And also you can take a look at Adam. Otherwise, the reverse plank, the legs stay straight and you're pressing into your heels. Inhale, lift and open through the chest wherever you are. Good. Draw those shoulder blades back towards the spine. And then from here, starting to press the feet into the floor, even if your legs are straight, lift your hips high. So you're trying to lift those hips high enough that you can't see your feet past them. Lift through the chest until you can't see your hips. Good. Allow your head to drop back here. Maybe you can even take your gaze to the back of the room like Chelsea is doing. Option to open the jaw, opening your mouth nice and wide. Good. Opening through the throat as you release the jaw. Beautiful. One more breath here, lifting high through the hips. And then as you exhale, keeping your head back as you first lower the hips back down to the ground. Beautiful. And then inhale, lift your gaze. Nice jaw clasp. So from here, you're going to come to a cross-legged seat as we prepare to step back into plank. So crossing at the ankles, you'll bring your hands out in front of you towards the front of the mat here. Pressing into your palms, go ahead and step back to a plank pose. Making sure that shoulders stay directly over your wrists and hands are spread nice and wide so that you have a good solid platform. Beautiful. Option to lower to your knees. You can even come to a tabletop position like Anna's doing here. Good. And then lengthen through the spine. So top of the head extends forward. Beautiful. As you lengthen tailbone towards your heels so that you have a nice long line. Good. And then from here, we'll lift the hips into downward facing dog. So tucking the toes, if you have the knees bent, lift your hips high. Good. Inhale, draw the belly in, deepening your hip creases as tailbone reaches and extends up towards the ceiling. Length through the backs of the legs, and then push the floor away from you as the shoulders draw down the back. Beautiful. From here, we're going to come into Pigeon Pose. So you'll step your right foot forward up towards the left hand, lowering that knee by the right wrist. Good. So the closer that your shin comes towards the front of your mat, and the more parallel it is, like Jubilant here, the deeper stretch you'll get in the hip. Make sure that you level off the hips here and they're even. So option to do like Anne has done here, taking a block underneath her quad, or like Adam has, you can slide that block right underneath your hip. Good. You want to make sure that that low back is nice and level. Inhale, lift to lengthen, opening through the heart. And then start to lower yourself down, walking your hands towards the front of your mat. Option here to take a block and place it underneath the forehead or the chest. Good. You can also stack your fists here if you don't have a block handy and rest your forehead on those fists. Inhale, lengthen the top of the head towards the front of the room. And in order to help square off your hips, start to lengthen the tailbone towards that back heel. Nice and long through the spine so that you have space to settle into those hips. Long, deep inhale, pulling that breath all the way into the hips, feeling opening and expansion in that space. And then on the exhale, allowing those hips to settle and sink towards the floor. Full deep inhale into the chest, feeling that breath as it touches the space between the shoulder blades here, so that then as you exhale, you can start to release the chest towards the ground. Beautiful. We stay in pigeon pose a little bit longer here because our hips do tend to get so tight. We carry most of our tension in our shoulders and our hips. So really breathing into that chest space and into your hips so that as you exhale, you can soften and release. One more breath here, as long and as deep as you can take it. Full exhale, so pressing that air out. Good. And then slowly preparing to make your way out of this pose. Start to walk your hands back up underneath the shoulders. Good. Tuck your back toes here. And then extend this front leg behind you into three-legged dog. Good. Pressing that leg back nice and high. Option to take a scorpion here by bending the knee and dropping this right heel towards the opposite glute. As you do that, make sure that you're keeping your shoulders level, that you're not twisting through the upper back. So press firmly into that right hand, even pressure in both hands. Beautiful. And then go ahead and extend that right leg back out, lowering foot to the ground through our downward facing dog. Good. Inhale, lifting the left leg, step it up towards the right hand here. Coming into pigeon on the other side as you lower knee by the left hand. Once again, option to bring that leg, the shin, more parallel to the front of your mat. Or if that puts undue pressure on your knee, you can also pull the heel in a little bit closer towards your groin. Good. Taking whatever props you need to and setting yourself up like you did on the other side. And then inhale, lifting and opening through the chest. Exhale, start to walk the hands forward as you lower your way down. Nice. Allowing the body to settle into this space. Making sure that that back leg extends directly behind the hip. Inhale, nice and long through the spine. Opening through your chest space. Feeling that separation between the shoulder blades. And exhale, allowing the chest to soften and settle. Long, deep inhale into the hip space. Maybe even imagining that that hip is opening and expanding like you're inflating a balloon. And as you exhale, allowing it to sink, settle, and release. Really savoring your breath in this space, using it to help you to stay present. Keeping that breath long and deep and even. Full, complete inhale, and then complete exhale, let it out. One more round of breath, inhaling deeply into that hip space. And then just allowing the body to have a full release on that exhale. Once that exhale is complete, slowly starting to make your way back up out of the pose as you bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Tuck your back toes and then extend that left leg behind you. Once again, coming to a three-legged dog. Feel the line of energy as it travels from your hands all the way through that back foot. Good. And then option once again for that scorpion, bending the knee and taking heel towards opposite glute here. Beautiful. Pressing firmly into the hands, feeling that lift through the forearms to support yourself. Nice. And then once again, extending the leg to three-legged dog, lower to downward facing dog. Beautiful work, class. From here, we're going to step forward to the kneeling position. So with hands firmly planted on the ground, just bring the knees up towards the hands. Knees together, we're going to set up for reclining hero pose. So you're going to separate the feet here so that there's space for your glutes, and then sinking and settling into that space that you've created. The outer edges of the feet are parallel to the outer edges of your mat. Option here to take a block underneath your glutes if you find that that's putting too much pressure on your knees or your hips. You can squeeze the feet into that block. Good. And then also, you can take your blocks if you're tight in the upper back and just set them behind you for support as we start to recline, especially if you are pretty tight in the back. You'll want to bring those about a hand's distance away from your glutes. If you would like to, and you want to go a little bit deeper than the blocks would allow, you'll place your bolster behind you to lay on. So, if you can see here, Adam's got blocks behind him, and Anne has the bolster behind her. Once you're ready, you'll go ahead and bring your hands behind you. If you're using the blocks, they'll come to the outer edges of the blocks so that your shoulder blades rest on those blocks. Once there are options to bring hands behind the head, and then just let your head rest in your hands here. Good. If you're coming into the full version of the pose, you'll bring your hands to your feet, lowering first onto your elbows, and then making your way all the way back like Chelsea and Jubilin have done. Good. Breathing into this space as you start to open through the spine. You want to make sure that you're shifting your tailbone forward so that there's length through the low back. Long, deep inhale in. Good. And exhale, release. Allowing the body to settle into this space. Pressing firmly into your shins here, knees towards the floor. So you're trying to maintain engagement here with knees to mat. One more breath here. And as you prepare to come out of this pose, if you're in the full version, you're going to press into your elbows once again first, taking hold of your feet, and then start to lift through the heart, supporting yourself with your hands as you come up out of it. If you're using any of the props, it's the same thing, bringing your hands under to support you as you lift the chest. Good. And then from here, go ahead and extend your legs out in front of you. Back to seated status.